Hi, and welcome to another CiviCRM tutorial. My name is Martin. I'm a developer at Circle Interactive, and right now, I'm going to take a look at creating a simple dedupe rule, so you can get an overview of how that works. The dedupe rule that we're going to create is going to be to look for people with a matching email address and last name, and that will enable us to hit a button and see people that could be in the same family, and then they can be marked as definitely different people or the same people. So if we go up to the screen and I go contacts for find and merge duplicate contacts, you should be able to find these menu entries even if your screen looks different. So if you're using WordPress or a different version, Drupal or Joomla, then obviously the screen's going to look a bit different, but the functionality will be the same and it'll all work out. So if you just stick with it and have a look around, you'll find your way around. When I go to this find and merge duplicate contacts page, there are a series of rules down here. They're grouped into different contact types. Civi has household contacts, individual contacts, and organizational contacts. There are rule names here. This one checks out the name and address. This one does name and email, and this one does email. We're going to create a new rule. Oh, and over here we've got different things that you can do with that particular rule. If you try and edit a rule, if it's reserved or a system rule, then you won't be able to edit it. As you can see here, that does not look the same as when we create a new rule for individuals in here. We get a totally different page, or a totally different looking page. Now let's call this rule family checker. A lot of the time you'd just list the fields that it checks on, but this one's got a specific purpose. Here, as on the page before, you can see there are unsupervised, supervised, or general rules. We're going to always make general rules unless we've specifically checked everything about the rule, what could go wrong, and had a number of people check it, because these two are system rules. And if we create an unsupervised or a supervised rule, then if anything's wrong, we could break a lot of data, and as time goes on, it will break more and more and more, and by the time you realize it, your data could be in a right mess, and that will cost a fortune to rectify. So generally, just use general rules unless you really know what you're doing. As for fields, as we said before, we're going to use email fields. So if I click in there and type email, that will filter and I can choose email. And in here, if I type last, I can grab last name. The length is the length of the string that we're going to compare. So if, for instance, we had first name in here, we could put a length of 3 and it would only check any 3 letters in that name. So if someone was called Samantha and they put Sam in on a form, then Sam would match Samantha because we're only putting 3 characters. As it is, we're not too worried about that, so I'm going to delete that and remove that. We want to leave that empty because that would mean that we'll compare the whole email, and if the email is exactly the same, then we get a match. If it's a match, we'll mark up 10 points on a scoreboard. Then it'll look at the last name, it'll look at the whole last name, and if the last name matches, we'll get another 10 points. Now we can add other fields and we can have other 10 points or 5 points or whatever we like. And at the end of the process, the system will look at a weight threshold at the bottom. Now this is the number that is considered a pass and is considered to signify that the contacts match. If we put 10 points in here, then either one of these 2 rules up here would get the 10 points. Now this wouldn't be wise because if the last name is Jones, there's likely to be a lot of people that match, but the system's going to put any data for anyone with Jones into the first contact. So that would be a bad idea. Let's make it 20. Now, in order to score 20, both the email and the last name have to match. And I'm a lot happier with that, so I'll hit save. And that rule would be saved. Now on this system, I'm just going to conduct a quick search, and I'm going to search for people with the name contact, because I put some people in here to check, and the email circle. So we can see from a search there are only a couple of matches. There's the surname contact has to match, so this one isn't going to fit. And the email has to match. These have all got inquiries, so this one isn't going to match because the email doesn't match, so we won't get 10 points for that, and we won't get 10 points for this name here. So only these two should match. They're Marsh contact and Martin contact. So now if I go to the Dedupe rules, I find in merge, family checker, use that rule. I want to do it on the whole system. I'm not going to choose a group because I don't want to just work on a group of people. And here we have two contacts that match, which is what we were expecting. They have the same email address and they both have the same surname. Now, if I decide that Marsh was another member of the household, then I can mark this as not a duplicate. And if I decide that these are both the same contact, then I can merge them and choose the names as we go on. There's another tutorial about merges, so I'll leave it there. Thanks very much for watching, and take care.